Board to order Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. I'd like to start this meeting with our Pledge of Allegiance. If you would please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to confirm quorum with the roll call, please.
Mr. Michael Suggs.
Present.
Dr. Danita Johnson-Woods.
Present.
Attorney Chantre Irving.
Present.
Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod.
Present.
Mr. Glenn Johnson.
Present.
With 5 members being present, we have a legal meeting. We can go ahead and conduct the business of Gary Community Schools. At this point, I'd like to move on to item number 2 on our agenda, the approval of the agenda for today.
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, may I have a roll call for approval?
Mr. Michael Suggs.
Yes.
Dr. Danita Johnson-Woods.
Yes.
Attorney Chantre Irving.
Yes.
Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod.
Yes.
Mr. Glenn Johnson.
Yes.
With all members being present and approving the agenda, we can conduct the meeting. I'd like to move on to item number 3. At this point, 3.1 is the recognition of the board president, which I acknowledge myself, Michael Suggs, as board president. I would like to call for nominations for vice president of the Gary Community School Board. If there's a nominee on the board or self-nomination.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would like to nominate Glenn Johnson for vice.
Mr. Johnson, do you accept the nomination?
Yes,
Is there a second?
second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other nominations for vice president? Hearing no more nominations, I move to close the nominations. With one candidate, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome, Vice President Johnson. I'd like to open the floor for the nomination for Secretary of the Gary Community School Board.
Mr. President, I'd like to nominate Chantre Irving.
Mr. Irving, do you accept the nomination?
Absolutely, it would be an honor and privilege to serve as Secretary of the Gary Community School Corporation. I so appreciate my colleague nominating.
Wonderful. Is there any other nominations? I move to close the nominations with one nomination. All in favor for Secretary of the Gary Community School Board, Mr. Chantre Irving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Welcome.
Thank you.
At this point, I want to acknowledge the corporate treasurer and deputy treasurer for the Gary Community School System, Mary Comer as corporate treasurer, and Jennifer Sherrod as deputy treasurer of the Gary Community School System. I'd like to move on to item 3.8 of the organization of the board. That item is each board member has received a conflict of interest form. I would like the board members to fill this form out. These forms are due to the State Board of Accounts, so if you could send a copy to me so we can submit it to the State Board of Accounts, I would appreciate doing that. I'm one with Target, so if we can do that by the next board meeting, I would appreciate that. At this point, I'd like to move on to item number 4. Gary Ready Snapshots. I'd like to introduce that to our community, and I'd like to introduce Chelsea and ask her to come and share with the community.
Good evening, everyone. President Suggs and board members, thank you so much for allowing us to present during your meeting to share with the community some of the things that we have going on in your Gary Community School Corporation. As you know, we are always enrolling here at the Gary Community School Corporation. It's a 365-day operation. However, during the summer months, we go out to recruit a little bit more aggressively, and we wanted to share with you some information regarding our registration efforts over the next few weeks. Before I even go into the schedule, I'd like to acknowledge a portion of our phenomenal team of the FACE Liaisons, which stands for Family and Community Engagement Liaisons. There is a FACE liaison in every school building so that parents, community members, and stakeholders have a direct contact of what's going on in the schools.
Excuse me, Chelsea. I think we're on the second snapshot.
Which is,
Superintendent Logan.
oh, that's right, I just skipped right over you did that. So we're gonna talk about registration momentarily. I'm ready to enroll children, can you tell? My apologies. President Suggs, thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of this meeting. And we have a special message from our superintendent that we would love for you to view. And then I'll be back later in the meeting to talk more about registration. We have flyers. I've planted the seed, so start thinking about enrolling your scholars. Dr. Yvonne Stokes.
That's great.
Are you having trouble?
That's Dr. Stokes.
You're gonna have to play the ad.
Trouble trying to keep up with your professor? You've got to try harder. Here's how it works. Let's say I'm in class.
Now you can
I'm
skip.
and as you
You
can
can
see,
skip now. You have it muted from the computer. You have it muted from the computer.
Excuse us, technical difficulties.
Class on Mass Literature, Contemporary Art and Folk. Gary Ready means future ready. Good day, my Gary students, families, colleagues, community, and friends. I am Dr. Stokes, and I am honored and excited to join the Gary Community Schools Corporation as your new superintendent. I am eager to collaborate with you to provide a top-notch educational experience for our children attending Gary Community Schools. My vision for our district is deeply rooted in a student-centered approach. This means prioritizing change through informed governance and leadership and making the best decisions today with a clear focus on our long-term outcomes. Those outcomes are academic growth, strong community partnerships, and financial sustainability. Our mission is to work as a united force with an unwavering commitment to ensuring the best for our students' education and overall well-being. To achieve this mission, we must work closely with our parents, community, and partners, and of course, our school board. We must keep the main thing, which for us as a school district is teaching and learning. As a district with a preschool, 5 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and an amazing high school, it is crucial that we align our goals, resources, and priorities to function as a cohesive school district rather than a district of schools. Each of you serve in a vital role when it comes to supporting our students. Your input, skills, and support are not only needed, but invaluable. As such, I ask that you be prepared for the call to action every day, every day. We will need everyone at the table ready to contribute, lend a hand, and hold a hand. Together, we will face the challenges, close the gaps, and become the best option and first choice for education for the students of Gary, Indiana. Thank you so much for your warm welcome into this incredible community. I am eager to get started and to work alongside all of you to create a bright future for our students. Let's embark on this journey together, ensuring that every child in Gary has access to the highest quality education and opportunities for success. As I love to say, it takes you, it takes me, it takes all of us to ensure that Gary ready means future ready. Have a great day.
I want to thank Dr. Stokes for an amazing introduction to our community. I look forward to hearing that on the radio. I love Gary Ready. I'd like to move on to item number 5 on our agenda called public comments. Before we start with our public comments, I just have a brief guideline for the Gary Community School Board meeting that I'd like to share with you. The Gary Community School Corporation Board of Trustees welcomes comments from the community. As a result, the agenda for each regularly scheduled meeting provides time for public expression. The period of public expression is limited to 3 minutes per individual and a 30-minute total discussion item on the agenda, or to the opportunity to express concerns relative to the operation of the school city, school board actions, and other items of general education interest. If there are many people wishing to address the board, we may limit the amount of time a person may speak. Comments shall be directed to the board, not to individual board members. Statements shall not be abusive or argumentative. Persons making comments may not debate statements made by other persons. It shall not be permissible to orally present or discuss complaints against individual employees of the Gary Community School Corporation. At any board or school trustee meetings, issues related to personnel, individual circumstances, or an individual school will be referred to the building principal or an appropriate administrator in an attempt to resolve the issue prior to an appeal before the board. Lastly, the speaker cannot transfer their time remaining to another person. The board president will enforce these rules and take action necessary to maintain the order of a meeting. Such actions may include, but are not limited to, interrupting the speaker if the statement is too lengthy, unduly repetitive, or otherwise violates rules. The president may terminate the address of any speaker who violates these rules. Limit the total amount of time devoted to public comments if there's a large number of people wishing to address the board. I appreciate your understanding with these board guidelines. I think we can clearly conduct this school's business with these standard processes. At this point, I'd like to read the list, invite the list of folks who have signed up for comments. First, I have Mary Reedus.
Good evening,
members, Dr. Stokes, and audience. Mary Ann Cantarugas, retired teacher. I just want to kind of talk about the little 15 minutes that has been changed in our coming to school. I think about the babies coming in the morning. It's going to be dark, and they're going to be out on the streets. But I understand that there is a reason, but I just wanted to give my opinion. Next thing I want to talk about is our libraries in our schools. They haven't been open for a very long time. The only time they're used if you have to go in there to take a test on the computer. My thoughts are we have Indiana University, Purdue University, and K-Net College. Get some of those students who are in the education level of schooling trying to get a degree to come into our school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 to 12, 9 to 2. Open our libraries and let the children come down there, pick out a book, and maybe they can read a book to them, take the book home, come back, and then tell us what the book is about. We have some vending machines in the schools, but you can only get a token if you're attendance, a good student, or a hall monitor, or something of that sort. And if you go look in the schools, all the vending machines are full because the children haven't been using them. So I think we need someone in our libraries. Thank you.
Chrissy Sass.
Hello, board and Dr. Stokes. Thank you for not hiring somebody from within. I spoke about that about 6 months ago and you didn't do it, so thank you. The rest of this will be about getting Gary third graders to read at grade level. Last time I asked you board members if you had listened to Sold a Story, how teaching kids to read went so wrong. You didn't even acknowledge, and it's disconcerting to talk to blank faces, so I'm gonna talk to the audience the rest of the time. The way the district's been teaching reading is not effective. I did not want to pick, the reason I did not want somebody picked from within is because they have consistently picked curriculums that are either poorly rated or downright awful. It's poor instruction that leads to struggling readers. It's not dyslexia, it's dystechia. But before you get upset that I'm criticizing the teachers, it's not the teachers' fault. The teachers' colleges have not been teaching teachers the right way to teach reading. Sometimes they've taught them ineffective ways. Sometimes they've taught them nothing at all about teaching reading. Just surround them with books and let them look at the picture and guess the word. This is all explained in Sold a Story, how teaching our kids to read went so wrong. And if you don't have a handout from me that tells you how to get to it, I'll give you one. You guys can all check your emails because I sent it to you on Monday. The district's been advancing almost all third graders who don't read at third grade level, even though this is not supposed to happen. There's a new Indiana law that went into effect July 1st, and this will have to stop. There will be a huge problem come the end of this May. Next fall, instead of having 2 classrooms, say a school might suddenly have 4 classrooms of third graders and only 1 of fourth graders. Why is this not even on the agenda today? What is the board and the superintendent going to do about this? There's a parent organization in Nashville that surveyed parents and found out that while only 30% of children are reading at grade level, 78% of the parents thought their kids were reading at grade level. 82% of the parents said their children's report card had B's or better. How can a first grader who's a third grader who's reading at first grade level possibly be getting B's? That's one heck of a grading curve. I suspect the same thing is going on here in Gary. There are effective ways to teach reading so that 95% of the kids are reading at grade level by third grade. I tutored some kids with this approach. It's called speech to print, and they almost all met their stretch goals. There's a normal goal for each kid, which is the typical year's worth, and then there's a stretch goal. If struggling readers do not do more than the typical growth, they can't ever catch up. They're just going to keep moving along, but they'll still be 3 years behind. You know that boys who don't read are heading for prison, right? Some of the kids I tutored went up to 2 and even 3 grade levels in a year, and I've got the stats to prove it.
Thank you, Ms. Sass.
We need to put fences at the top of the cliff, not ambulances at the
Chrissy,
bottom.
thank you. Bruce Curry.
the board for the selection of Ms. Stokes. Welcome to Gary. I'd like to thank the community for coming out tonight. My biggest point today will be this: we got a fresh start. We need to be positive advocates for education. That's the push I've made for my NAACP chapter, all my members on my committee. We're going to work for positive change. The thing that when I look at change, it's a formula I was given back when I was at Purdue, when I was in corporate America. And it's called vision plus change. Vision plus pain, pain equal change. So I know Ms. Stokes is going to have the vision. We're going to go through some pain, but I need positive attitudes. There's got to be adjustment. And I'm going to continue to preach this: adjustments, faith in our board, faith in our leadership, and it's all about the kids. It ain't about you and me. We don't went through this process. It's about the students. So I'm there for you. We need help. I know the community members showed up here ready to be positive again, because this is a fresh start. School has started now. School's basically started now. You got 2 months. I'm going to a convention next week where we're dealing with resolutions to help Gary around what we can do around education. We know about these book bans, all that other stuff, but we're going to make sure things happen as parents. People can't change where our kids get educated unless we start that process. So I always say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. If it's going to be, it's up to you. So let's do what we're supposed to do. Be positive. Be behind the superintendent with all our heart and soul. I guarantee you, Gary's going to change. Gary's products, which is the students, are going to be great across the country. We have 5 students going to a national thing competing. 5 Gary students. A couple of them, I think, are going to win the nationals. And so I just said, we got products here. So thank you. I don't want to extend my time and get cut off at all. I just want to stay positive. Thank you.
Dr. Spanglerberg.
Good afternoon. I'm relieved to see that we're kind of in public comment today. I'm relieved to see that we're all here in good spirits. I think we have to consider something very carefully, though. There's a difference between feeling supported and being supported, and real support is about being able to communicate people's concerns fully as allowed under the law. And I don't think that we've quite gone to like the danger zone in that way, but we could easily have if we had kind of stopped where we were maybe a month ago or less, in terms of positions on that. I'm thankful we're not there. But there's a lot of attention on this idea of staying positive and more or less, let's just be real, uncritical support. And that's fine. But unfortunately, when people get very focused on that, what they focus on is, well, is somebody going to say something I don't like? Is somebody going to say something that I feel unsupported by? Is someone going to say something that feels like an attack or makes us look bad and things like that? If you don't have that information, how are you going to be able to do anything with it? So for instance, I'm kind of concerned about even kind of like some of the language on this notice, because it's not typical of a public meeting. There seems to be this avoidance of calling it a public meeting. There's 5 members of a governing body here. It's a public meeting. It would be a public meeting if you have 3. And that's the kind of thing that I get scared about. Like, why do we have this desire to kind of limit certain things? Just because there's nobody down there to take a report doesn't mean the report doesn't count. But I don't want us to get to that point. I want us to get to a point where we have meaningful inclusion, which means we can all feel heard, we can all feel supported, we can all feel like everybody understands where everybody else is coming from and everybody has all the information that we need to move forward together. I found it strange because when we were at the prior meeting, we had a lot of community members that said a lot of optimistic things, and then we had kind of this idea that the community was somehow not optimistic, and it was a little scary. Like, what were we responding to what was in the room, or were we responding to an idea from somewhere else? At the end of the day, we have to stop letting the state be a mediator between us. I don't care who appoints who. You're here. You're part of this community. And every time somebody comes up here and says something that sometimes maybe people don't always like, it's an attempt to bring you closer, not push you farther away. And so we look forward to working with you. Have a good day. Bye.
I'd like to move on to item number 6 on our agenda, consent agenda. There are 3 parts to the consent agenda. One accounts payable, voucher registration and invoice schedule, purchase orders, and personnel report. At this point, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the items under number 6, consent agenda, 6.1 through 6.4.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may I have a roll call for approval?
Mr. Michael Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Davina Johnson-Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Shante Irving,
Yes.
Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn Johnson.
Yes.
With a vote of 5 in favor and 0 against, item number 6 consent agenda has been approved. Let's move on to item number 7 on our agenda, action items. Item 7.1, approval of all current policies.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, may we have a roll call for approval?
Mr. Michael Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Davina Johnson-Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Shante Irving,
Yes.
Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn Johnson.
Yes.
With a vote of 5 in favor and 0 against, the policies have been approved. Item 7.2, approval of the board meeting and work session dates for July through December of 2024. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Mr. President.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion, roll call for approval?
Mr. Michael Suggs,
Yes.
Dr. Davina Johnson-Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Shante Irving,
Yes.
Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn Johnson.
Yes.
With a vote of 5 in favor and 0 against, the motion has been approved. Item number 7.3, Indiana Code 20-264-7, board member compensation. I'd like to take a motion on the item.
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. May I have a roll call?
Mr. Michael Suggs,
No.
Dr. Davina Johnson-Woods,
Yes.
Attorney Shante Irving,
Yes.
Dr. Vanessa Allen McLeod,
Yes.
Mr. Glenn Johnson.
Yes.
With a vote of 4 in favor and 1 against, the motion carries. Item number 8, I would like to invite Chelsea to continue, please.
My apologies again. Good evening, everyone. Again, Mr. Suggs and board members, Dr. Stokes, thank you for allowing this time for us to talk about registration, enrollment, and some of the activities taking place in your Gary Community School Corporation. As I indicated earlier in the meeting, some have joined us since. I will say again that we have a phenomenal team of family and community engagement liaisons. We call them affectionately FACE liaisons. They are in every school building, and they are the glue that holds us together when we talk about connecting community to our schools. They are direct resources for parents and community members to visit our schools, our libraries, which are open, and also get information about how to go on field trips, how to volunteer, and to be engaged. And at this time, I would just like to acknowledge them and have them stand so that you can see who some of them are. And give them a round of applause. And if there are any parents who are here today who would like to enroll their scholars, they are enrolling young people right outside at their table today. With that, thank you, ladies. With that, it leads me to just let you know that registration is in full swing at all of our buildings. And we have several coming up throughout the month of July, and there are hard copies for you to take with you and share with family and friends who may be interested in enrolling their scholars. The next one will take place on July 11th, which is tomorrow at McCullough. And what we want to emphasize is that you can enroll any child at any school at any building. So if McCullough works for you tomorrow, but you want to enroll your child at Westside, you can still do that. So we wanted to emphasize that. The other dates are as listed: Monday, July 5th at Gary Middle, Tuesday, July 16th at Bailey STEM Academy, Wednesday, July 17th at Bethune, Thursday, July 18th at Beveridge, and then we have a full week at Westside Leadership Academy, July 22nd through the 25th, and then at all schools on the 31st, we will run all day, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, this is just a listed calendar. However, as long as school buildings are open, you are welcome to come and enroll your child, and you can also do it online at garyschools.org. The documents that are required, just so you know, include a birth certificate, your child's current shop records, proof of residency, and a driver's license or state ID from the parent or guardian of said scholar. So I just want to encourage you to please pass the word along. These items, this flyer also lives online, and for regular updates regarding the Gary schools, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and X, and you can also visit our newly designed website by Crystal O'Brien, garyschools.org. Again, board, thank you for this time, and we appreciate all of you. The first day of school is August 14th. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to move to item number 10 on the agenda, board reports and communication. If there are any comments or communication from a board member, please feel free to share at this point.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to acknowledge the Talberts, Talbert and Talbert, who received an award today at the Mayor's Organization on Disabilities. It was their 15th annual luncheon, also the 60th anniversary of the Human Relations Commission, and I think that there are no more deserving people than the Talberts. I've watched them in their careers, and they're doing a phenomenal job at what they're doing. Edgewater received an award as well, but it's just so nice when I'm in a room with people who are so smart and so brilliant and doing such wonderful things. It's like I take lessons from them.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
First, I would like to thank and congratulate the Gary Community School Corporation for participating in the City of Gary's 4th of July parade. The band, the student athletes, the cheerleaders, other staff, our police chief was in his car and just making an announcement. It was a great day to see so many of our students and staff and others
march in that parade. It was with pride. Over the last 5 weeks, over 600 students have participated in the Northwest Indiana Learning Labs. These were small class settings with one teacher per 5 or 6 students. Gary, Indiana had 18 sites, including several churches, New Hope, Israel, New Friendship, New Tabernacle. Other sites included the Gary Historical Society, home mentoring and tutoring, and many more. The enrichment activities included horseback riding at the Brown Ranch. Many of them didn't know that we have our very own horse ranch right over here on 21st and Mississippi. Students also participated in chess and swimming and kayak at Marquette Park. More specifically, Williams Elementary School had approximately 45 students ranging from grades 2 to 4 in attendance. The post-test results are coming in, but I want you to know that the home mentoring tutoring site, 50% of those students grew at least 15% or more in the math and reading using the Lavinia Rise curriculum. I think we are amazing. Special thanks to Dr. Deborah Hendricks Black, who wrote the grant for us to do this for 5 weeks, and kudos to all of those teachers and those retired teachers, Ms. Rivas, and many others who made a commitment to work during the summer. I want to acknowledge any of the academic coaches and any of the teachers who were here. If you would please stand if you were participated and was at your post at 7:30 every morning with those babies. Thank you all for entrusting us, and I'm excited about what's about to happen under the leadership of Dr. Yvonne Stokes. Register your children. I look forward to a wonderful year if we all work together and put in the work, because our students can do it. And just let me say this. I was somewhere and someone was at a table with me and they said to the neighbor, they said, I don't think the Gary students really participated or received scholarships. And so I went straight to my office and I pulled out all of the scholarships that the West Side Leadership Academy students received, the graduating class of 2024. Then I pulled out all of the scholarships that the Urban League offered. There was over $300,000 that the Gary West Side students alone received. So I just want to say, let's make sure we're speaking positive, and let's make sure we have the facts about the greatness of our students, because they have graduated and they have gone on, and we're proud of them. And on next week, there's going to be another announcement about a scholarship that will be coming out for students that are graduating and maybe going to IUN. It's going to be a tuition, a full ride scholarship. So get ready. So we have some things going on, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to congratulate our students and our staff and our teachers and retired teachers.
Thank you, Dr. McLeod. Any other board member comments? I'd like to, at this time, move on to item number 11 on our agenda, our superintendent's report. Dr. Stokes.
Thank you very much. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that I typically will like to do, and just explain a couple other things that we put on with the board's permission for our meetings. Thank you, Dr. McLeod. We will see at our next meeting the agenda item that we have under Gary Ready, which are snapshots of things that we do in the district, mostly from a student perspective, but it can be from leadership perspective. So we will be giving you some photographs and maybe even some videos about things that occurred with our learning labs. But thank you for, front loading us with things to come next week. So Gary Ready is about us being ready through showing you snapshots of events and things that our teachers are doing, partnerships with the community, but more importantly, things that our students are doing. So every time we have a board meeting, we want to share something about what's going on. The other thing that I will always want to share with you is the proposed, notice it does say proposed, the proposed agenda for the next session, so that if you see something that we're preparing to talk about and you know that it's something that's dear to your heart, you may want to make sure that you're here at the meeting. So this is our proposed agenda. Of course, the Gary Ready snapshots about the learning labs. I also want to talk a little bit about the fact that monthly we will have what we call an administrative report. We will be having the financial report 8.1, as you see, that will be at our next meeting. So if you're interested in learning about our finances, please come. We will also provide for you a staffing update, and I'm going to take a pause and tell you why. The reason we want to give you a staffing update, because remember I said we keep the main thing, which is teaching and learning, but we must have staff members, not just in our buildings, not just in our classrooms, but systemically to support the business of running this school district. This is a business, and we do have to be accountable to state legislative type rules, and you know finance is one of those, so we'll have a finance update. But with the staffing update, I wanted to make a call out. If you have a desire to support us here in Gary Community Schools and you have the proper licensing to come in and support us, and even if you don't, there are other ways that we can have your support. We need help. As you know, I put out that we have several key positions in our central office. We have several key positions in our buildings. We have key positions in various departments throughout the district that we need your support. As many of you know, and I tell you I'm very transparent, while MGT has moved on, DUAB has agreed to provide a little bit of support that they are paying for, not us, because as I've shared to many of you, we have 8 open positions in leadership, and as much as I think I'm Superwoman, I can't do all of them. So I just want to be transparent with you and say that for those of you who are asking if we have some DUAB member, we have one who's still around. I thank them for helping us. We will be trying to get these 8 positions filled. If you know of someone, again, I'm calling out now. Please send us your application. With that, I'm going to yield the floor back to our board president.
Thank you, Dr. Stokes. At this point, I'll move on to item number 12, a motion for adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Meeting is adjourned.